I got a movie review. We're doing a movie review. We're reviewing movies. That's what we do on the show. And so this is the second time I watched this, right? But I'm going to say second watch on this movie is better than the first watch. But I'm going to be reviewing a film, a Netflix filmographic experience entitled The Platform. And so, now this is a movie I believe I saw it before the pandemic. I want to say, but ever since, the COVID-19 pandemic, this movie has become a lot more prescient. I don't know how to pronounce that word, because I'm uneducated and I dropped out of high school. But anyway, this is The Platform. And so, now, first of all, this is a horror movie, but it's really good. I just want to say, if you haven't seen this movie, you gotta watch it. No spoilers. No spoilers. Right? I haven't spoiled anything yet. Right? If you like horror movies, and if you are a communist, I would definitely recommend watching the show, or this movie, and I would recommend not listening to my review, watching the movie, and then listening to my review afterward. And this is also a Spanish movie, so, subtitles. Now, a lot of people don't like reading subtitles while they watch movies, personally, and whatever. But anyway, you gotta watch this movie. I don't care if you don't like subtitles. I don't care if you don't like Spanish movies. I don't fucking give a shit. Watch this movie. Anyway, so it's a horror movie. And now we're gonna enter the spoiler section. So if you haven't seen this movie and you want to, if it's even remotely interesting, shut the fuck up, turn the fucking stream off, and go watch the fucking movie, and then watch the clip when I upload this. All right, so now we're in the spoiler section. So hello, welcome back. Thank you for watching my show the other day, and now you're here at the clip portion. Because you went and watched the movie in between. So hello, welcome. I've still been here the whole time. This is, same recording. But anyway. Wow. This is a great movie. This is great. Okay, so I love horror movies. And so, horror is good. I love it. I love horror. But this movie's, story is also really, really good. So let me describe it. So this movie, basically, there is a giant hole, right? It's the characters in the film call it The Hole. And it's a giant hole, right? Where it's think of a square with a square in the middle, right? And the square in the middle is an empty space. And there's a floating platform that goes from level 1, which is at the top floor. I guess level 0. All the way down to however many levels there are at the bottom that is shown in the movie. But go watch the movie. This is if you haven't seen the movie yet. This is a little test, why are you still watching this fucking shit? Go watch the movie, right? Turn this fucking stream off and watch this goddamn movie right the fuck now. You're watching the stream, clearly you have no life, clearly you have nothing to do. Go fucking go on Netflix, pirate the movie if you want, I don't care, right? And go watch the movie. You clearly have no life. Why are you watching the stream right now? If, you know what I mean? So, anyway, go watch this movie. Anyway, so, the platform has a bunch of food on the platform, and, there's theoretically enough food on the platform for everyone on every level. But here, you might already grasp what this movie's about. Assuming you haven't seen the movie and you're still watching this, go watch the movie. Anyway, so the platform goes down and it stops at every level and allows people to eat as much food as they want. But now again, the point of the movie is that the platform has enough food on it to feed everybody, but the people at the higher levels usually take more than they need, right? End up eating too much, and the people in the lower levels starve to death and, resort to cannibalism, resort to suicide, and so forth. And so that's the gist of the movie. Now, again, what it's describing here is, of course, capitalism, the systemic failures of capitalism. Those on the top, hoarding, eating everything, living in excess, while those on the bottom starve, die, and kill each other and kill themselves just to get by. And so now again, I want to be, this movie is really good. I've seen it before, but I watched it again for the second time yesterday. And again, I think I saw this movie before the pandemic. I'm pretty sure it was when I first saw this movie. I want to say. And so after the pandemic, this movie is so much more, I think, important to watch because it's just a really good movie. And so, anyway, but one of the tricks is that every month, everyone on every level randomly shuffles to another level, right? So, the main character wakes up and he's, level 40 something, right? So he gets to eat. There's still enough food to eat, right? When he first gets there, the main character. But then the second month, he wakes up on like level 170 or something like that, right? And then by that point, all the food's been eaten, right? And so forth, right? And then, right, like his cellmate, who's a really good character, right, tries to engage in some warfare with him, tries to kill him, or keep him hostage and like, try to like eat his flesh, but keep him alive so that the flesh doesn't rot. It's a really gory and well-made, detailed horror experience. But the point that really is driven is that, like, again, what are you going to do if you have no options? Your options are 1, starve to death, or 2, eat your cellmate. Those are the options. Or 3, kill yourself, right? Those are the options, right? And so if those are the options, can you really blame someone, right? Like, is it really, like, does it make them a criminal? Does it make them evil, right? If they decide to take the self-preservationist route instead of the suicide route, you have 2 options. 1, kill yourself, or 2, kill someone else. Those are the only options, right? There's no third option. There's no, like, and if those are your only options, can you really say that someone is evil if they choose to kill someone else, or so forth? So the morality that they play with in this movie is very good. I just want to say, like, every character's morality is very important to the story. Right. So again, another aspect of this movie that I really enjoy is how the main character, right, has to end up killing a lot of their cellmates, or has their cellmates die, right, in various ways, right? He has to kill them in self-defense, right? It's kill or be killed. And if the options are kill or be killed, right, there's only 2 options, right? So if you kill someone, but then, right, you kill someone in desperation, right? But then you have to live with the trauma of killing someone for desperation, right? And this movie is very symbolic of the world that we live in. And that's why I really like this movie, I think, because I'm a horror fan. I'm a huge horror movie fan, and I'm also a communist, right? So this movie is like perfect for me. But anyway, so, you kill someone in self-defense or, in self-preservation, right? But it doesn't just end there, right? Like, because then you have to live with the trauma, right? You have to live with the trauma of having done something like that. And that's another part of the movie, is that every cellmate that the main character goes through, some of them kill themselves, some of them he has to end up fighting and killing them, right? But every time, right, he moves with a new cellmate, right, he starts hallucinating, right, because you're stuck in a room and you're starving, right? You start to hallucinate, you're dreaming, you're hallucinating, and like half the movie, or maybe not half, I don't know, but a good chunk of the movie is the main character in his own hallucinations, right? The main character living in his own world and, right, and being haunted by the, like, the people who he had to kill or the people who killed themselves, but, in his presence. And that's the thing that really, in my opinion, that really makes this movie exceptional, is that it deals with, these very complex subjects, right? And it's like, again, if your only option, right, look at like certain stuff like mugging or robberies, right? You feel that you're in a position, you've been destroyed by capitalism, you've been destroyed by the system, right? And you feel that let's say you need an emergency amount of money. Let's say that, your sister or your kid or whatever gets hit by a car and you don't have health insurance or whatever, and you need to pay an absurd medical bill, right? And so you think, oh, what's the best thing I can do? Oh, well, I have a gun because, I just have a gun. Let me go rob a supermarket or a bank or whatever, take all their money. Try not to kill someone, but, I'm going to traumatize them. I might have to kill someone. But either way, you have to live with that trauma for the rest of your life. You have to live knowing that you mugged someone. Let's say you mugged someone on the side of the street or in an alleyway, right? You have to live with that trauma for the rest of your life, right? So even though in a lot of ways the system forces us to be evil to each other, the system of capitalism forces us to hate each other and to compete with each other, right? When in reality, it's the rich that are the ones forcing us into this society. And that's what this movie does, right? So the people on the top, echelon of the levels, right? They get to eat as much food as they want. Now, again, if they all ate enough to survive, they could carry on the food all the way to the bottom layer and everyone would survive, right? But people are selfish, right? And so anyway, so the main character, having been in this prison, having been in this bizarre experiment, and one of the things about this movie that's so good is there's no context. There's a couple scenes that provide a little bit of context, but for the most part, there's no rhyme or reason to why this place exists, right? There's no answer to those questions, right? It's just that abstract kind of, it's like Cube a little bit. If anyone has ever seen Cube, it's just an abstract, right? These people are in a fucked up situation. No, we're not going to tell you how they really got there. No, we're not going to tell you who made this situation possible. No, we're not going to tell you why this thing exists. Why? Because that's a waste of fucking time, right? Let's get to the goddamn point of the movie. And that's what I like about this movie. This movie's kind of short. It's like, I think it's like 85 minutes or something. So it's like, it's relatively short, right? So it doesn't, like, it only shows you what's necessary. And that's what I appreciated about it. So anyway, so then the main character basically realizes that, you know, there's enough food for everyone. So then he decides to maybe do something about that, right? He decides to become like the revolutionary, right? He's like, I'm going to solve the mystery here, right? I'm going to make sure everyone's well fed. So what he does is the platform goes from the top level to the bottom level, right? And then he gets on the platform with weapons, right? And basically says like, you know what? If you're on the top, you can go a couple days without eating. Fuck you, right? So he tries to guard the food. He ends up like killing a bunch of people, right? Because the rich are going to try to be violent in return. They need their excess, right? Like Elon Musk needs his 15th fucking yacht, right? Like all these people need their 19th jets, right? They need their 14th mansion, right? If they don't have that 17th fucking golf course, what are they going to do? They're going to literally spontaneously combust if they don't have the 39th fucking, amusement park or roller coaster or private theater, right? So they need all of it. They need it, right? So it eventually engages in violence, right? But then that shows like, the morality of like, if you are a, revolutionary, right? And you choose to engage in violence, if you choose to hurt people in terms of the greater good, does it work? Right? Is it the lesser evil? Right? I love this movie's morality, right? But at the end of the day, it's a horror film. And so, anyway, so he gets down through the levels and eventually realizes that there's way more levels than he initially thought, right? He keeps going and going and going and going. And eventually he finds out that there's 333 levels. And so now again, there's 2 people per level, 333 levels, 666, ha 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 ha. But anyway, so in the middle of the movie, this is a big spoiler. And like, I'm not even joking. If you haven't seen this movie, I need you to shut the fuck up. I know, whatever it is, whatever excuse you want to come up with to spoil this fucking masterpiece for yourself, fuck you. I'm not going to let you do it. In fact, if you've admitted you haven't seen the movie and I see you typing and replying to my shit, I'm going to ban you from the stream for a week, motherfucker. Turn the goddamn stream off, mute the fucking stream, go watch this movie, cue it up. Whatever. Like, motherfucker, listen to what I'm saying. Anyway, so they get to the bottom, right? And then so on the path to the bottom, they're thinking, all right, we're going to feed everyone, right? But we have to deal with the people that put us in this situation. We have to like show them that we're capable of learning, right? We solved the puzzle, right? Like now everyone's like fed. Now everyone's going to, right? Theoretically. So what they decide to do is in an effort to show that they have solved the puzzle, they decide to bring one piece of food on the platform back up so that so they hold something, a well-made dish, and no one eats it, right? To prove that, so look, we even have some food left over. We fed everyone and we have food left over, right? And so, but in the middle of the movie, like this is what's really good about this, right? In the middle of the movie, there's like random scenes that establish some kind of context, right? In one of these scenes, it shows like people in the kitchen making all of this elaborate food. One of the things about this movie is all the food is like really like high quality crafted. It's got all these expensive dishes and, it's that fancy shit, So anyway, in the middle of the movie, right, there's a scene where someone, is like, whatever, the head chef is yelling at all the other chefs because there's like a hair in the dish or something, and they try to find out who put the hair in the dish or whose hair it is, right? Anyway, that scene chronologically is in the middle of the movie, but my interpretation of the film is that is the ending. They put the ending in the middle of the movie to leave you hanging, because the movie, like, ending is so good, right? So they're successfully sending, like, a message back up. They think they solved the problem. They think they're all going to be freed. They figured out how to become socialists, right? But then, right, if you watch that scene in the middle, you understand that, okay, they did all of this, right? They became socialists and, via violent means. Some people had to die, but it's for the greater good, right? So anyway, they send it back. But the message is misunderstood, right? Because you can't send people back on the platform. So the message is understood. They think, they sent the food back because someone put a hair on it. They have no idea what's going on in the hole. They have no idea about like whatever uprising going on. They have no way of knowing any of that, right? And so ultimately, like the message of the movie, it's like a little bit of a black pill. It's like, no matter what you do, you're fucked, right? Revolutionary uprising, you're fucked, right? any sort of, spontaneous solidarity, you're fucked. Working together, no matter what, those in charge are just going to either purposefully misunderstand, not understand at all, or just purposefully fuck you in the face, right? And not in the good dick way. Let me be very clear. And I think that that's a really, again, ultimately this is a horror film, right? So, it's supposed to leave you with that sense of dread. And I think this movie does a really good job of it. Again, as a horror film, right? The scenes, like the horror scenes are really good, right? And then the hallucinations, like the way that it deals with trauma, really good, right? Like this movie is really good. If you like horror, it's really good. If you don't like horror, watch it anyway, because it's got good symbolism. It's got really cool storyline. Just watch it anyway. Anyway, that's The Platform. It's really good. Honestly, I'm going to say this is definitely one of my favorite horror movies. Like, the first time I watched it, I thought it was really good. But on the rewatch, I'm convinced this is a really good movie. It's really well executed. The effects are good. The acting is good. The characters are good. The story is great, right? Like, just the concept is simple, right? They don't over-explain it. They don't under-explain it. You know everything you need to know, and it's just wonderful. It's a great movie. And I would even if you're not a horror fan, I would definitely, but if you're not a horror fan, right, and you're watching this part of the review, then, you shouldn't be watching this part. You should already have seen the movie if you're watching this part, There you go.